Hi guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. Today I want to share with you my top 5 books that I read this fall. So my fall months are September, October, November. So out of all the books that I read in September, October, November, I thought I would share with you my 5 favorites. Now, these are not necessarily all of my 5-star reads. I have some 5-star reads that aren't in this, and I have some 4-star reads that are. And that may seem off, but I'm basing this more off of my enjoyment of the book. And sometimes I give 5-star reads 5 stars because I think they're important and they're really, really well done and I find no fault in them. But there are some 4-star reads that I just enjoyed reading more. And these are the top 5 books that I enjoyed the most out of my fall months. So, the first book that I want to share with you is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. I read this during Spookathon in October and absolutely loved it. This is the story of a boy whose mother is sick. She is terminally ill and he is terrified and he's having nightmares. And then one day, this monster kind of just shows up outside his bedroom window, and it's the story of how this monster relates to him and gets him through this really, really hard time in his life. And it was beautiful, and I absolutely loved it. And yeah, it's just wonderful. All right, the next book that I want to mention is Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman. I actually read both of these in October, and I will say I think I liked Thunderhead just a little bit more. I think there were more cliffhangers. There were also things that I didn't like in this book, but the reading experience as a whole, I loved. So these books follow a utopian society where death has been eradicated. And in order to keep population under control, they have human scythes that go around and kill people. And these two 17-year-olds are taken on in the first book as apprentices to be scythes. And Thunderhead is just kind of the sequel to it. There's not a whole lot I can tell you about this if you haven't read this. So I did enjoy both of these, but as far as my favorites of the season, this is going on my list. So I really did enjoy both of these, and I gave both of these 4 stars. A Monster Calls I did give 5 stars to. All right, the next one that I have to mention because it is just so good is Beartown. I read this with Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand, and this was a life-changing book for me. I have raved and raved and raved about this book in multiple videos. This is by Fredrik Backman. It is about a town in Sweden that is a hockey town. Their whole town is obsessed with hockey. And one night, one of the star players of the hockey team rapes one of the girls in town. And this is the story of how the town handles that situation. And you get the point of view of both of the kids that were involved because they were both minors. You get the point of view of their parents, of their coaches, of their best friends, their teammates, the town barkeeper, things like that. So it was so well done, so good. Go, if you haven't read this, you need to read this ASAP. Brilliant. Loved it. 5 stars, hands down, one of my favorites of the year probably. So yeah. And then these next 2 books I read in November. The first is The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum, and this is adapted into a graphic novel by Eric Shanower and Scotty Young. I loved this. I don't know why this made such a huge impression on me, but it did, and I just thought it was so good. The illustrations are beautiful, the story is fantastic, and I think the thing that put it over the top for me is at the beginning of the book, there's like a 2-page like just explanation. Hold on, let me find it. It's just written out of the importance of the Wonderful Wizard of Oz story to Eric Shanower and what this story means to him and how important it was for him to portray it with dignity. And I thought that it was so well done. I loved it so much. It is a series of graphic novels. and I have all the rest of them out from the library right now so I can read them because it was that good. I highly encourage everybody to go pick this up. It was just, I loved it. Loved it. All right. And then my last book that I want to share with you that was a favorite of mine this fall is another one that I read during November, and that is Counting by Sevens by Holly Goldberg Sloan. This is a middle grade book that kind of just surprised me. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did, and I ended up just really connecting with it, and I just loved it. I know not everybody shares my love for this book. I read some Goodreads reviews, and not everybody loved it as much as I did, but I adored this book. I think part of that might be due to the fact that I listened to the audio and the narrator was so good. But this is a story of Willow Chance, who is a brilliant genius, like Sheldon Cooper, Big Bang Theory, brilliant genius, and her parents die, and she has no living relatives. And so it's just kind of her story of who she ends up with, why she ends up with them, her found family, and it's just the inner workings of her brain and how she's processing everything that's happening to her. And I just thought it was so heartbreaking and touching and lovely, and I cried at the end of it. It was so good. It was just, this one just struck a chord with me, and I loved it so much. So that's it. Those are all the books that I loved this season, this fall season. Oh, where's my last one? Oh, I don't have it. That's why I was like, I should have 5. So these 4 plus A Monster Calls. So these are the books that I've absolutely loved during the fall. Please share with me down below your favorite book that you read this fall. And yeah, other than that, if you've read any of these also, as always, leave your comments down below because you know I love to chat with you about books that I love, that you love, or that you have opinions about. So yeah, other than that, I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you stick around and subscribe. And until next time, see ya.